Okay, first of all, yeah, there's a dog on my bed. Isn't that right, little boo-boo? Yep, see? But first of all... Sorry, I'm stuttering again. That's not the whole point of this video. You saw the title, you saw the icon. Oh, how it pains me to do this! G1 Starscream. Oh, man, this figure is good. First of all, before we get into anything, let's do a size comparison because, you know, why not? Here he is with Astra Train, and unfortunately his thing is loose. Yeah, this is completely off. This is very, very off. In the movie, he's in his rope mode, and he goes into the back of here. They're both good figures. It's just the size comparison's complete shite. Also, if you want to add even more to insult, I do have one of the aerial bots. Yeah, however, it's only one. It is Skydive, I think. I really can't remember his name. I think it's Skydive. Either way, you know, he's a lot smaller. And really, you know, one of them is based off a Starscream, which is an F-15 or an F-16 Eagle. I can't be sure, really. I believe it is an F-15. I'm not sure. Also, these two share the same portion of die-cast, which is quite ironic. As in, like, this, the area where it's die-cast in them both is very similar. Unlike Astra Train, who hasn't his legs. But still, here is Starscream. Now, I did get mine complete. Don't have the box anymore. My mum made me throw it away, which is fucking stupid. And I need to just tighten this vice that my camera is on. However, I don't have the cluster bombs. I shortened them off, but of course I lost them by doing so. But I do prefer the way it looks with the null rays sticking out of the jet mode anyway. It kind of just makes it look really OP, like really badass. So I do like it like that. All the stickers are pretty good except for this one here. I've had this guy for a few years now. This is my second copy of Starscream because I did have one when I was much younger, but basically I had lost this. And that's what I had as a Starscream because I lost everything when I was a little kid. My dad eventually took it away because, well, you know, I was a very naughty child when I was younger, so as a punishment, and got it taken away and never saw it again. But then a few years later, I hunted the reissue on eBay, and you know, I actually better off with the reissue. It was better. It was good that happened because my version was beat up. It was worn out. You just couldn't really do anything with it. This version, however, is 90% complete, albeit missing those cluster bombs, but they really don't do anything for me. He does have his landing gear. Oh, and by the way, he does have visible head syndrome. Yes, I did paint the face to make it more cartoon accurate. That's the only one I've done it on. Now, there was a trick you can do with this guy for storing the fists, because if you don't know, parts forming at its finest. You don't actually have to remove a lot of these for transformation. In fact, you only really have to remove 3, which are the landing gear and the fists. Now, I actually wedged the fists on the feet and then close them up. It does stop the feet from going quite as flush, but it does still enable it to roll. In fact, with these as well, you can actually turn them, kind of like making the jet go upward, or how it works. And that just broke. Well, not broke, it's part of the transformation, but yeah, you can do that. You can store the fists. It does have the rub symbol there. I'm going to try and see if we can activate. Come on, activate your sod. In the meantime, just enjoy my dog lounging on my bed. Oh Christ, that rub symbol needs super gluing on. Because unfortunately, the stick is wearing out to the point where... Yep, you saw it first, people. Come on, you git. You can sort of say it. Let's see if we can try and get it to work. It takes a lot of heat. It takes a lot of heat to activate these bloody things. There, you can just about see it. I'm not going to bother doing anymore. Yeah, if you can hear me breathing, hot breath usually works this thing. Okay, so, transformation. By the way, this whole red section here is die-cast, and these back wheels here are die-cast. So it's quite nice. Transformation. The cannons do come off. That's kind of traditional for all the Seekers. By the way, if you hated the repaints and the constant retools that Hasbro do, yeah, it started a long time ago with the Seekers. Ramjet, Starscream, and... Not Ramjet. Thundercracker, Starscream, and Skywarp are exactly the same, just different colours. By the way, there's a cool trick you can do with a landing gear. I'll show you it now. Open this. This is a die-clone port. And you can store it in there. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, Ramjet was just Ramjet and the Coneheads, like Thrust and Dirge, were just retools. Oh, So, you know, you really like... You're going to have to be hard to... It's going to be hard to complain about the G1s. These guys don't really have much paint on them, which is quite ironic, because most people complain about a lack of paint, yet with the G1s it kind of works. As you can see, it's pretty easy to transform. I think I kind of need to go on that side, yeah, because it's got the sprue point. I do wish these feet were made out of die cast, and I'll show you why in a minute. Again, the feet are plastic, but I'll show you why I wish it was die cast. Can you actually see that? I think you can. No, I'll just hold them up anyway. Yeah, I didn't even have the fists when I was in. Well, I had one of the fists, so basically when it comes to Starscreams, besides the hair, which I'll show in a minute, this is what I had. Of course, missing these. So it's kind of nice to have a complete one again. And this is one of my favourite Transformers, even though it's a complete bloody parts former. Of course, you know. And then for final reveal, just flip this up, and oh look, he's a cone head. Flip that down for another bit of custom paint. He's a reissue. He is a complete reissue. But here he is. Here is Starscream. Let me see if I can slightly shift my camera's position. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now you can see all of him. He is pretty good. I do really like this guy. Unfortunately, he can't hold anything, but that was the days in G1. Posability, this is where, you know, it stinks. Yeah, that's all you're going to get is some 316 and outward movement. You can reposition the null rays, but why you do that, I don't know. Unless you want to make him like Optimus Prime. Of course, this is back in the time where the Takara reissues were released in the UK and they did fire. And these are the elongated null rays, which I do quite like for Starscream. It's very fitting as the big ones because he's got such a big ego. Now, in the show, this is actually why I said about diecast feet. He was actually very different from this. If you remove these, and one of the wings just flew off there, this is how he looks in the show. However, most of the times, he would never stand like this. Why he's doing it now, but look, the slightest little tap. Okay, fine, yeah. He stands now, of course, and his wings were a little bit higher than that. He would never stand for the life of me when I was younger. See, look, if I just... Oh, yeah, see, yeah, he wants to stand on camera because he doesn't want to be humiliated. But most of the times he would never stand. But these great things acted like heel spurs, so, you know. But I never take any parts off. I mean, I've tempted to glue these on, but I don't, because that would alter the condition of this guy. And I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to transform Astro Train back into his robot mode. This is going to be a bit tricky, because getting these arms out is an absolute fecker. Come on. Jesus Christ, sorry. But yeah, as you can see, Starscream is a very, very nice robot. All the stickers on him are in pretty good nick, albeit except for that one Decepticon symbol on the front of him. Oh, for feck's sake. This is taking the piss. There we go. Nail clippers. I'm not going to actually damage anything. I'm just going to use them to... Ah, there we go. Leave out the arms. Fucking hell, I wish this guy had... You know, I tried modding my Astro Train to have extendable arms, and it didn't really work. I'll show you when I'm in robot mode, when I transform. It was an awful thing. I hated doing it, but I still enjoyed the figure nonetheless. The fact is, because the world's smallest and original prototypes of Astro Train did have extendable arms. I mean, before Astro Train became Transform, it was, you know, back as a Diaclone figure, I think. The snag is the ball joint is very loose now. It does still hold on, it's just loose as hell. Ooh, sorry, my ear's itchy. So here he is with Astro Train. I'd actually say this is pretty decent scale. Yes, I do like to display the double fins on him. I actually think it gives him a lot of flavour. Now here's what I mean by modding Astro Train's arm. There's no screw hole in there, whereas there is on this side, because, well, I tried carving it all out to make the arm extend and it just didn't work. Yeah, I'm a terrible person. Also, I got this guy for 18 quid, didn't have the gun. And he's an original, by the way, so it's worse because I modded him. I know, I'm a naughty boy. He was a commemorative reissue. I got him for about 35, I think. See, but that's Astro Train. Now, for those of you who didn't know, this guy actually briefly featured in Beast Wars, where he did a poltergeist and possessed Waspinator. So I have two Beast Wars figures. Both are originals. Now, I've not got the accessories on me for this one. This is Rhinox, who's in pretty good scale. ironically, although Starscream should be a lot bigger, if you know Beast Wars logic and lore, you should know that Rhinox here should only come to about Starscream's foot. Yeah, this guy's really oversized for him. And here is another one. I can't fit him all on camera because he's so big, but you know him. Well, I'll try and lift up the camera. It's Optimal Optimus. I do not have those side things, however, but this is a great figure. He is busted too, unfortunately, because this whole section here has been out of brown plastic and the hinge is busted. So what I actually did was stuck a couple of Lego ratchet joints in there. It's brown plastic with sparkles, so it basically had the GPS. I don't think we've had a case of that in years, but he's an older figure. So yeah, that's him. Can I just say, he's got some gorgeous chrome. And so one problem I have with Starscream is Starscream literally has no chrome. Here he is with my other G1 figure that I grew up with. Now, this is an original piece. Two of the guns are not original, which they are recasts in metal, albeit the only problem is that there's a big air hole, and this is pewter, by the way. My Power Master, Optimus Prime, who actually, I'm going to disarm these big shoulder guns, because these guns, I'm going to take all the guns off, just for now. Here he is, the big Power Master Optimus Prime, and this is a gorgeous figure. This is mine from my original childhood. I did have the Apex Bomber, however, I'm missing an arm, a shoulder fin, and a leg. So the Apex Bomber's useless. But yeah, this is it, and this chrome is still staying in good contact all these years. In fact, it's got a few in fact, it barely has any fingerprints on it. I'll just transform him into his miniature robot mode. I don't have the little high Q anymore, unfortunately, but to be honest, you just press this and then press the white bit and it'll unlock the legs. I think need to hunt a new haiku down because I don't want to complete this guy. Now, when I was younger, when I first transformed this guy, I used to display him. Unfortunately, he's a lot bigger, like that, because I didn't know how to get his head out. But then I discovered, you know, and I use this as a lever, that you can get his head out like that. Yeah, this is not a good scale. But basically, these were the two G1 toys that I had growing up as a kid. Of course, I was disappointed that Optimus Prime did not transform traditionally. But then, of course, growing up over the years, I realised that this is actually a Power Master version. Which in a way is a bit better because he combines with his trailer. Speaking of original Optimus Primes, have I showed you my custom Nemesis Prime made out of a spare Ultra Magnus cab? Yeah, he is a custom piece. Someone got triggered in the comment section for me criticising it, saying I defiled it. Maybe I did, but you know what? It was a spare Ultra Magnus cab lying around. The fists I got from my Ultra Magnus, which I'll show you in a minute. And basically, I just, you know, turned him into Nemesis Prime. A little fan thing. I was going to turn him into Shartimus Prime, actually. If I get another one, I will do that, because if you don't know Shartimus Prime, he's basically a reverse colours Optimus Prime. Here he is with Grimlock. There's also an original that has a custom painted visor, just to kind of break it up. Grimlock's a great figure. He's also an original. Nothing's modded. The only thing I really did to Grimlock was stiffen up some joints, like the arms and the... Also, Grimlock has die-cast in his crotch. And this whole section here is die-cast. I did have to stiffen that up in the way that this connects, because it was very loose and it just wouldn't hold on, so I put glue on there. And yeah. Good figure. Also, I did paint his dinosaur teeth. Here he is with the ring. Oh, by the way, this guy does not stand on carpet. He has no heel spurs. Here he is with Goldbug, the new Bumblebee. Yeah, this is completely shit. Vehicle mode comparison would actually work decent, I think. Goldbug's is, you know... He's not one of the best of the G1s, but I like him, you know. I just wish he had some ball joints in his arms. Here he is with Hoodcap, one of my mini-bots. He's very loose. This arm is quite loose, and the head is loose, so I'm going to have to stiffen this arm up with some nail polish, as you can see. Yeah. Here he is with a stupid comparison. I was given this by one of my teachers at school. It is Voltron. He is missing a lot. He doesn't have the little silver cap there. He doesn't have that hand. He doesn't have any weapons, and he doesn't have those fins on his back. He's literally just as is. This is what you see is what I was given. I do like it, though. It's a nice piece. And then we have, this is another comparison, which is going to be oversized for the camera. He did also feature in the 1986 movie, Ultra Magnus. This is a reissue, and he is 100% complete. I did have to modify the missiles, if I just deployed them. Because he was a reissue, they were stupidly long, and I found them incredibly offensive. So I just shortened them down. And it looks better like that. Yeah, it's a bit crummy when you get to there, but it works for what it is. And he's a great piece. He was also the last new Transformer in the G1 line that was made out of a Diaclone mould. So he was the last G1. He was the only G1 Transformer in the original movie, I believe, that made it into a Diaclone. And now for the one comparison everyone has been wanting to see. Let me just get a weapon on. I was going to give away what it was. If you do not know who this guy is, which I know all of you will, why are you even a Transformer fan? Here he is with the guy he's always trying to stab in the friggin' back. Megatron's nearly twice the size. This is brilliant. This is really brilliant because it kind of makes you think that, you know, I mean, Megatron being the leader, he is supposed to be a big guy, and he's bigger than Starscream. Although, there is one problem, and if I just quickly transform Megatron, I do have all the pieces on me, so bear with me a quick second, just enjoy my Doberman licking his feet. And while I just quickly do Megatron. I have stiffened Megatron's joints up. If you want to see how that was done, watch my actual review of him. It has got in brackets that it's a joint stiffening tutorial as well. I was a bit crazy in that review, so sorry about that. It's just, Megatron was one of the most iconic, the G1 version was the most iconic for me growing up as a kid, so owning him as a figure it's an honour, and I still enjoy playing with him to this day, even though I got him like only a few weeks ago, but I still enjoy playing with him. And oh dear, he's got some smudging on his legs, some gold smudging. Now, if you know the G1 movie, Megatron would be able to be wielded by Starscream. However, the last time I checked, Starscream couldn't wield something that friggin' big. Yeah, the cartoon took a lot of liberties with these toys. And yeah, you can sort of see the brown smudging. In fact, I've got a plan. There's a convention on this year called the Love of Sci-Fi. If they have Frank Welker going, I'm getting to sign this part and this part also. So imagine that, Megatron signed by Frank Welker. And no matter which way you hold it, you'll always see that signature. So that's pretty cool. Because basically, as back to the topic, Starscream could wield Megatron like this in his robot mode. As in, you know, Starscream could hold him like a normal gun. As you know, when they boarded the Autobot shuttle, when Instruments of Destruction was playing, most of the Autobots got killed off. Ironhide, Ratchet, Brawn, Prowl. But Starscream was the one who wielded Megatron like this and basically took Brawn's shoulder off and killed the poor bastard. Pardon my language. So if I just get this back up here, yes, I'm using an iron on shoot DVD. Oh, look what Starscream is standing on. Yes, I did that deliberately. Let me just move Megatron out of the way. And I'll just get him transformed back into his robot mode. But yeah, basically, Starscream wielded Megatron. And I think, he wasn't the only one, because in the cartoon, I remember one episode where Dr. Arkeville and Starscream had teamed up to try and rid the world of all the bloody Transformers. Autobots and Decepticons, because, well, I don't know, maybe just kill off Megatron so that Starscream could then wield the Decepticon, lead them. But basically he teamed up with Dr. Arkeville, and Optimus and Megatron had to team up. In fact, they did it on multiple occasions, because I saw a video on YouTube recently of a little clip of when the Decepticons had brainwashed a lot of the Transformers into working for them. And Optimus and Megatron actually had to team up, and it was quite interesting. The Decepticons were, I'd say, a little bit more treacherous than Starscream, actually, which was quite ironic. But yeah, here he is with the big guy, as you can see. I like the scale, actually, although I also don't, because I do want my Transformers to be the same size, and they feel like completely different toys, and Megatron's legs are a bit wobbly. But yeah, you kind of get what I'm saying here. So basically, this guy has betrayed Megatron in such a way that, you know, Megatron had to team up with his movie brother in a way. I just prime look like he's trying to butt in the video. Hello! That was just weird. I'm never doing that again. That was cringe. Should I review my Power Master Optimus Prime next? I think I'm going to actually. I'm going to do a couple of G1 videos because I do like my Power Master Optimus Prime. It's a great figure. I mean, the trailer is literally this. This is the trailer. It is a great figure. It's a great piece. I mean, literally, like, have you seen the cab? Cab is gorgeous, man. But yeah, basically, Megatron and Prime had to team up because Starscream was being a dick, as per usual. Starscream, in the cartoon, for those of you who didn't know, was a complete dick. And if you're probably wondering at the beginning why I said, "Oh, how it pains me to do this," some of you younger people have probably not watched the G1 Transformers movie. So I'm going to explain a bit and give a load of spoilers here. So basically, the Decepticons had a massive battle where they attacked Autobot City en masse. Like, All of them, pretty much. They all attacked Autobot City. And a lot of the Autobots got killed off. Like, you even see Wheeljack and Windcharger's dead bodies as RC's dragging them. But just before Springer says, "Come on, RC, we need to get this launcher into place." You know. And then, yeah, at that point, you see Windcharger and Wheeljack just dead, which is quite sad, really. You do see Grapple fighting in the background a bit, but it's safe to say that all of the Autobots got killed off. Decepticons didn't really get killed off, they just got reformatted, which I'll explain in a bit. But basically, Megatron and Optimus, you know, because when Optimus took the shuttle, you know, as reinforcements and came to Autobot City, deployed the Dinobots to stop Devastator, though they failed, but none of them died. I think Swoop just got knocked out. Basically, Optimus knew that this just wasn't going to stop. And he uttered the famous lines, "Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost." And he took it upon himself to do it. He went out there, he battered the shit out of loads of Decepticons by driving into one of them, jumping in midair whilst transforming and firing his gun off, knocking most of them down, not actually doing any major damage because Soundwave and Blitzwing and the Coneheads were among them, and you don't see them in a damaged state. You see them in pretty good condition. So just imagine that Prime literally just knocked them out. Then he goes to Megatron, and the two have a bit of dialogue, and then they have a humongous fight. Then, which is the interesting part, is Megatron actually pulls a nasty little stunt on Prime. He basically pulls a ploy like a axe coin, says, "Please give mercy." But Hot Rod, unfortunately, at that point, you know, knew what he was doing, but fucked it all up, because had he not done anything, Optimus would have just shot Megatron in the face, and that would have been it. When instead Hot Rod got involved, Megatron grabbed him. Prime said, "Get out of the way, Hot Rod." Unfortunately, not being able to get a good shot because Hot Rod was literally in the way, and Prime wouldn't kill another one of his mates. So that gave Megatron the perfect opportunity to shoot Optimus, and gave him a very critical wound, a fatal wound, basically killing Prime. Prime did knock Megatron off the balcony, and you do see him die later on in the medical bay. But basically, Megatron had got severely damaged to the point where he was literally fecked. If you've seen the Masterpiece MP38, the battle damage chest and the battle damage faceplate really show just exactly the extent of how damaged he was, even though the rest of the body should have been damaged, but it would have been possible to make all those swappable parts. Either way, I digress. And basically, they're all having a fight on board the shuttle, because they all get on board Astro Train and retreat. Astro Train then says, "Loosen up the weight or we'll never make it back to Cybertron." Sorry, dust in the back of his head. And basically, Starscream proposes that they need to lighten the burden. So they throw out the Insecticons, Thundercracker and Skywarp, and of course, Starscream, took the opportunity to throw out Megatron. And says, you know, hence the line why I said at the beginning, "Oh, how it pains me to do this." Megatron, pleading at that point, says, "Wait, I still function." Starscream just says, "Wanna bet?" and throws him out. Obviously, because the little slime ball does that. He's always stabbed Megatron in the back from the very beginning. It's been a story arc for those two. These two, him being a leader, him always trying to stab him in the back to take his place as leader. And basically, there was a, you know, if you know the story, you know that Megatron then comes across Unicron. He gets reformatted into Galvatron, which the toy of Galvatron is even bigger than Megatron, which is quite funny, I think. And then they go back to Cybertron, Galvatron and Cyclone, and the others get formatted into Cyclonus and Scourge and the Sweeps. It's unknown which is which, actually, but sort of. But so Galvatron riding Cyclonus in his jet mode, because, you know, Transformers could mass shift and all that and grow big and small. Basically came to Starscream's coronation where he was trying to be a leader. Starscream utters a famous line, "Who disrupts my coronation?" And Galvatron at that point says, "Coronation, Starscream, this is bad comedy." Starscream suspects it's Megatron again, and Galvatron actually gives it away by saying, "Here's a hint," transforms into his cannon mode, blasts Starscream, and I swear to God, it was one of the most brutal scenes in the movie. Starscream literally turns black like charcoal and crumbles to pieces. If that wasn't scarring to the eyes, I don't know what was. But even I felt that was a bit harsh on old Screamy Boy. Fun fact, there was actually a third-party cartoon version of this guy called Howling Meteor. which was pretty good, actually. It was a lot better than their Masterpiece Starscream. So that was just a little bit of backstory on these two and how, you know, how he became Galvatron and how these two had a horrible relationship as a team. By the way, this leg is still loose, whereas this one's nice and tight. I may have to put some lock nut in this. As you can see, he just doesn't want to stand, but as a scale, these two work quite nicely. So that's been the story. I did forget to I don't know if I mentioned this before, but this red section is all die cast. And the stickers do cover some of the holes. You can sort of see the impressions there when you push on them. So yeah, that's basically the story of how Megatron and Starscream worked. They had it a lot in the seasons 1 and 2 of him constantly stabbing Megatron in the back. Basically, Megatron can't fire anything, so Starscream in a way is so Megatron's defenseless against, well, he ain't against that. But then Megatron could just kick him, and I really shouldn't have done that because that's a risk of damaging the toys. But you know what? They're polypropylene. They're going to withstand it. For those who don't know material science, Transformers are made out of polypropylene, which is a very, very hard and rigid plastic that does not like paint or super glue. It doesn't like acrylic paint. The best paint you're going to use on polypropylene is enamel or an oil-based acrylic, because water-based paint like Games Workshop stuff just won't work. As you can see, this whole face unit was done with enamel. And if we just zoom in here, he's got a bit of black smudging on his side of his cheek and a bit of grey there. I was contemplating painting the cockpit orange, but I just don't want to do any more to it because, you know, I do need to repaint it so it's scraped off. But that's his face. Very tiny. If you took this piece off, his head would be small. These are actually part of his head, these grills. And if you do that, he's basically ramjet, dust, thrust and dirge. And he said dust and thurge. Yeah, because that makes sense, doesn't it? But yeah. So that's Starscream. He is a good figure. If you can get one, get him. I mean, I quite like him. He was iconic to me as a child because I actually had one of this, well, you know, the G1 version, not the original G1. I mean, I did have a reissue, but I got another reissue. Bang. Obviously, now I've got the two main Decepticons, and I'm now back in Chorley, as you can tell. And that was one of the things I was quite excited, was putting these guys together. And I must say, it is a nice and satisfying thing to do. Because the fact is, they are in a way, one of the Transformers' most iconic double acts. The leader and the backstabber. The leader and the friggin' slime ball. I know I'm going on a bit, guys, and keeping the video longer than anyone really wants it to. But this is it. There's a lot to cover with these two. And of course, you know, you get Megatron here, and then you have Starscream who's shorter, but Starscream wants to be bigger and be leader. But it's only fitting for Megatron to be bigger than Starscream, because Megatron's more superior. And Benji, what are you doing? What are you doing? Excuse the dog. Yeah, I just let him on bed. He loves lying on bed. But still, it's nice having these two, and they are a great 2-pack to have. Of course, well, not 2-pack. They were released as a 2-pack, actually. The Goodbye Megatron set. I don't have that, but I have done a lot of research. However, if you want a really iconic set, obviously I can't do it super well because I don't have the correct... Well, I don't know. I think you can just do it with any G1 Prime. But, of course... And Prime's obviously bigger than him. Which is not accurate. I mean, we'll just do it with Nemesis Prime just for now. And Nemesis Prime's actually a little bit shorter. But you get the point. G1 Prime would have looked like this. And, you know, it would have been in scale with Megatron. But I think this is pretty good. It's good to have a Megatron and a Prime together. When it comes to Transformers, if there's any two you're going to hunt down, Megatron and Prime are the ones you want to get. From any series. Obviously, RID is different because RID from 2015 did not have Megatron. It had Megatronus because it was a sequel to Transformers Prime, and that Megatron had basically gone into exile after being bullied by Unicron and then realised that what he was doing was exactly the same to everyone else, was exactly the same thing as what Unicron did to him, so he kind of realised that, you know, the Decepticon way is not good. Starscream obviously got a very G1-ish appearance, which I thought was kind of cool, actually, but I've never watched RID. I hated the animation. Even though I do own two of the figures, which are Cool Fire and... What Optimus Prime is it? I can't remember. I think it's the Power Optimus Prime. I'll get it out. You guys can tell me in the comments. This is a great figure, but... Oh, piece just fell off. It's this Prime here. In some countries in America, he was releasing an Ultra Magnus-like paint scheme. He's pretty good. He's a good retool. And my Cool Fire, I cannot be arsed looking for right now. Fun fact, actually, I do have the 2008 remodel of the G1 Prime. This guy, who is custom painted. I do like his gun. It's like a Tommy gun. But still, if it was not about these two, I have digressed too much. review is about Starscream here. In fact, if you want a Starscream comparison, I'll just show us off real quick. This is my only version of the movie rendition. One of my former friends in school, before we fell out and never talked again, we traded Transformers, and this is what he gave me. I was quite happily surprised to see this. I thought it was going to be the original Voyager one, but it was this one, and I was quite happily surprised to see it, because I thought it was quite a cool looking Starscream. Yeah, it's very simple, but I liked it, and it's got some nice detail for a simple kiddie's toy. So I liked it. Also, another Transformer that I had back in those days, and this is an original piece, but it is severely buggered. It's very worn down. It still transforms, and it's had to be repainted. It's the X-Brawn from the early series of R.I.D. I do have the other missile, by the way. It's just in the box somewhere, and I cannot be asked to save my life and get it out. That was the other Transformer I had. In fact, another one I also had when I was a kid, and I've still got this, mostly complete. He does not have his missiles or his minicon. I will just transform into robot mode, and he is an Armada figure. It's quite ironic. You're gonna think this is ironic when we see him, because we've just been talking about the G1 version of him. And no, it's not Megatron, by the way. It's an ironic one. I do want Tidal Wave, but I do like the Armada for the video games, so. He is missing a few bits. He does have his tank missile, but he does have his minicon. It's Galvatron! And I think this is exactly the scale of the G1 Galvatron. If not G1 Galvatron being at a bigger head height. I think the G1 Galvatron was actually up to here. Sorry. But you get what I mean, like, Galvatron was a lot bigger than Megatron and Starscream, even though Armada and Megatron was exactly the same size. We're not talking about that, we're talking about G1. But yeah, that's another G1 toy I had, well, not a G1 toy, this is another Transformer I had growing up. And this is still one of my favourite figures. I do wish it had leg articulation, and I could mod it maybe to have leg articulation, but I don't know if I want to, because this is one I grew up with. He is missing one of these, and it wouldn't clip in for the life of it, because, I mean, that one clips in fine, but this one wouldn't, because the clip is actually busted. Surprisingly, he has head articulation, which is cool. But still, I digress. The fact is, this is what I had this growing up, and I had Starscream growing up, and I always used to have this guy fighting the Power Master Optimus Prime in his combined form. By the way, Galvatron does have a bit of paint. He has some there, and his wheels are painted on the tank treads, just to kind of give him a little bit more flavour. I don't know if his electronics still work. No, they don't. They don't work. The batteries are dead. I did previously have batteries in this guy. They've just died. But still. Starscream, let's get on to his rating and what I actually think of the guy. But, you know, we'll just do it like this. A little bit of paint smudge there. Starscream is a great figure. He is obviously the Starscream. Like all the others, this is the original. So you know I'm going to have high respect for this, and there's a little bit of paint on there. But the die-cast metal is zinc, which is monkey metal, meaning if it breaks, you can't weld it or solder it back together. You'd have to melt it down and recast the part. Bit of fun fact material science for you. Still, Starscream is a great, great piece. He was an icon to my childhood, and I'm just knocked over Galvatron. And my reviews are very haphazard. Obviously, he is not in scale with others, like if you compare him next to... Actually, he's in pretty decent scale with Prime. Not Prime, at least. He is, obviously, you know... I mean, if you're going to look at Starscream's, like, he's alright, but this guy's the best. Obviously, he has no thighs. His thighs are literally that little black portion there. Again, if you want the original Starscream, like when what 80s kids had, this is the one to go for. He is not as good as most modern toys. I'd actually argue he's better in terms of value, in terms of quality. There's a lot about Starscream here that's to be liked, loved, and enjoyed. There's also a few cons. The biggest con for him is that nearly everything comes off, which are all the wings, the missiles, the launch, the null rays, well, null rays being these parts, the null ray launchers, and the fists. And also the landing gear, but the landing gear you can just store in the chest, so it's no biggie. But still, the figure is great. The other negative I'd say is he has no chrome, but then the wheels kind of, you could say, are chrome because they are polished die cast. And that part always does this. It does sometimes sit in there, but, you know, shaking it enough, I don't know, it just doesn't. You get the basic poses you need to in Starscream, which is firing his null rays. That's the best you need, really. He is great. Obviously, the G1 model did not have these stickers here. I actually like all the stickers on him because they are really good and they give him a lot of nice detail. He is a great figure. If you're going to buy one, make sure, for the love of frigging Christ, you get one complete. Because if this guy's missing, if he's missing the cluster bombs, it's alright. But if he's missing any of his major components, like his fists, his wings or anything, you just don't bother, because your Starscream's useless. I suppose it wouldn't be so bad if he was missing these. He just wouldn't look anywhere near as iconic. God, these are some powerful launchers. By the way, don't shoot these at pets or animals, just because I've got the dog there lying on the bed. Hello, little boy. But yeah, this is a great Starscream figure. I think everyone who is a Transformers fan, whether you're young or an older collector like me, who's, you know, nearly 22, if you're a younger one that's just got into Transformers, you should be introduced to the G1s. I'm going to do a separate video on why I think younger children, new fans of Transformers, should be introduced to the G1s. In a nutshell, it's because I felt the G1s are very entertaining, and kids should know, and Transformers fans should know their roots. They should know the roots of Transformers, and they should know the history, because I think it's important. You shouldn't let history die out. And I do wish Hasbro would re-release the G1s, because, I mean, the G1s are amazing. They're great, great toys, great characters. I mean, most kids have grown up with the movies, R.I.D., Prime, and all that, and even the new reboot that's coming out, which looks god freaking awful. And Combiner Wars and Titans Return and Combiner Force or whatever that's called and all the major stuff. But if you really want to go back to the very roots of the true Transformers, G1 is where it's at. I do like the others. I have a few modern figures. I don't have any Combiner Wars figures, but I do have the Last Night Megatron, which is a superb figure. But for me, it's G1. It's G1, it's Armada, it's Beast Wars. The movies are alright, but for me, it's mainly G1, Beast Wars, and Armada, because those are what I grew up with as a kid. And you know what they say, when it comes to growing up with something as a kid, you're obviously going to be biased towards it. And I'm not going to lie and say I'm not biased towards those three franchises, because I am. I do like the movies, and I did grow up with them, actually, because I'm like 21 now, so when the first movie came out, well, I'm nearly 22, so when the first movie came out, I was roughly 10 or 11-ish. So I've been a Transformers fan for a long, long time. But for me, it's got to be G1. So great story arcs in the episodes. Animations were cool as hell. Characters were amazing. Like, so many different ways. You had funny, you had serious, you had intriguing. All different character types you could possibly get were in Transformers. Even Starscream, who's, pardon me, you know, the slime ball. You had Megatron, the complete arsehole of a leader who was a Decepticon and wanted to kill everyone. You had Prime, who was compassionate, noble, and then, of course, that translated into Beast Wars, and Ultra Magnus was cool. And you had so many. There's so much about G1 which makes it rich and flavoursome. There's so much to be had with G1 that you just don't get nowadays with modern. And all the toys, even though they're all on completely stupid scale and something like Goldbug look ridiculous, like, at the end of the day, G1s may have a compromised robot modes, but look at that alt mode. That is a great car. And it's even a pullback motor. The Throttlebots weren't the best. They were probably some of the worst, but I like him. And they're not bad. Obviously, Starscream has firing missiles, but you get the point. G1s are where it's at. G1s were when it first started, and you know what they say? The original is always going to be the best. And that principle is heavily, heavily applied to the Transformers. Other franchises are good, yes. You don't have to, you know, you don't have to not like G1 to be a Transformers fan. You can like anything to be a Transformers fan. But if you want to know where the Transformers came from, go to Generation 1. You will have a great time. The toys are great fun, even though they don't pose super much. The cartoon is great. The movie alone is fucking spectacular, pardon my disgusting language. Again, there's so much fun to be had with G1. I can't explain it all. The video's going way longer. But seriously, guys, check out G1 if you don't know what it is. Just check out Generation 1 Transformers. It is, you will not regret it. Like, it is so much good fun. You will love it. I promise you now. I mean, I love it to this day. And I'm 21. Yeah, I know, it's a bit mad. I grew up with the G1 movie on DVD when I was younger, and I absolutely loved it. I really did. It was a great movie. So, again, the principle is, get G1s. But good luck trying to find them, though, at a decent price, because, well, you know, they're G1s. Yeah, you're gonna... I mean, Megatron alone was £90. £90 for Megs here. Starscream's not that expensive compared to Megatron. Megatron's one of the more rare ones. But if you want to go for a rare one, try Scorponok. But still, I've been the Archangel, reviewing G1 Starscream, going a bit out over the head with other size comparisons and a bit of backstory. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.